Hello, queens and kings. It's Dana Sturcoats. Happy Sunday. Happy Jewel School Day. Happy Holy Mountain of Glass Day. Hopefully this is bright enough. Looks like it needs a bit of light there. The delay is real. Not that I think a ton of you will come in, but the ones who are interested in glass will. It's so silly. I see three thumbs up and only one person. That doesn't make much sense, does it? Ah, now 8 people and 3 thumbs up. Chat is still not coming up though. Let me check my other device. Hi, Ellen. Now it's coming up. Clearly. How are you feeling? Jeanette, how are you? Oh, Ellen Rook. That's a new name. Hello. You have COVID. Oh, no. No wonder you felt so poorly. You said your husband was ill. Oh, no. What is going on? All of my queens are sick with COVID. I love you all, but I don't want it. Not again. I had it once. That was enough. How's this round of it? Oh, lucky you. I had it a couple years ago. And once was enough. Oh my gosh. What is going on? Is it terrible again? It must be. I'm asking a stupid question. Well, ask a stupid question, get a stupid answer. It must be awful. Come on. Well, hello, Ellen. Welcome. You said the other day you were really unwell. Ugh, it makes me afraid to go out of the house. Oh, Jeanette. Poor girl. Well, hopefully all the bright and shiny and pretty glass will make you feel better. There's enough of it there. Deb said, pull out all the drawers. There's not enough room on my desk. I have a big desk. Actually, once I put the office back together, I'll have a smaller desk. I have a theory that I think my desk is too big and that it just gets too messy when I have too much room to play with. Yeah, I totally lost my sense of taste and smell. I lost a good bit of weight. Because it's been at least 2 years since I've had it. I think I had just maybe started out selling. and I got ill, and I never got tested, but my husband got tested and he had COVID. So, yeah, that was after the UK making us have the mandatory vaccinations. I had two. I won't have another one. After my second one, I had a lump in my lymph nodes. Oh, no, it's your Bakelite now, honey. That has to be a cheery thought. I love that orangey yellow set. Every single time I saw it or wore it, it made me happy. Yeah, I was gonna say, don't they have an antiviral that helps lessen the symptoms? You are not a hag, honey. You're just sick. I know what you feel like a hag when you're sick. You're a beautiful young woman. You're just ill. And it makes your head feel like it's too big for your body. Luckily, you said it settled in your head, Ellen. It didn't settle in your chest. I'm always terrified with something like that because it can really play havoc on your lungs and your heart. Hi, Trish. How are you, honey? Hi, Sharon. Luckily, honey, you didn't get it in your chest. We'll wait about 15 minutes before we get started because people just get the notification. I put the school notification up early. Hi, HC. HC, I got another heart in, and I'm going to attach it to your bracelet. All of the larger orders, I won't be waiting till next weekend to send you out. I'm sure I told you in your invoice if you'll get it, if I'll send it out this week. Hello, Karen. I got another heart in, and I know you'll love it. Because it has roses on it. My hands look really bad today, and I have to apologize. I was painting for 2 days in a row. Hi, Lily. You should hear audio, Trish. Just me and a little bit of music in the background. Hi, Deanna. Package. You mean that was a bit more than a package, honey. The lady at the post office said, "What in God's name is in here?" I said, "It's all jewelry." Oh, yay! I love it. I love when you get packages and you feel that way. Someone said, "Oh, you know how you were in your haul? How excited I was about things that came in." And I said, "Yeah." And they said, "We're like that every time we get a package from you." And that just made my day. She has another one coming that's like Christmas. Oh, this one, well, I wouldn't sell this one because it's in bad shape, but it, I mean, you know, it just needs restrung. Ooh, that's my camera's shaky. That's not good. Is it bright enough? I mean, can you see everything in good detail? Is it bright enough? Looks dark on my end. Just playing with the lights. Jeanette, where is yours? Jeanette Rivette, honey, where's your COVID at? Is it in your head or your chest? Oh, good. Yeah, if it looks too dark or you can't hear me, just let me know. Colleen just got over it. Your head, thank God. I guess it's worse when it gets into your chest. Hi, Lori Doll. Yeah, we have a new queen here, Ellen Rock from the Netherlands, which is wonderful. Because it's, what time is it here? It's 8:13 here, so it's 9:13 there. You're an hour ahead. Oh, body aches, girl. I hear you. I felt like a truck hit me. My husband was sick, so we couldn't even baby each other. I mean, because we were both sick. And not that I'm a person who needs that, but you know, it's bad when, you know, you can't even depend on someone else. No. Oh, Deanna. I'm going to hurt like someone beat me tomorrow because I painted 2 days in a row, but the flooring guy is supposed to come in this week and the painting had to be done. So I just took 2 days and pushed through it. Deanna, I shouldn't, but I do. Oh, I'll be okay. I'll be sore for a couple of days. That's okay. I'll feel sorry for myself. My husband's going away all next week, so I'll just, me and the fluff nugget will stretch out on the bed. Hi, Pam. I'm not sure if Deb's going to come in today. Be nice to see her. But then when she doesn't have to do a sale, she usually spends time with her boys. And you can't blame her. She's a trooper. Well, all of my mods are. She's a fluff nugget. She's here on the sofa next to me, the little settee. I'm also going to put a smaller desk in my office because you all know it's a tiny room. So if I put a smaller desk in, then I can put like a day bed in. Like she needs another bed, right? She already takes every bed in the house. Plus her own, she has 2 beds of her own. The cat is spoiled. But she needs a comfortable place to lay when I'm working. Because she doesn't leave my side. My husband told her today, he said, Daddy's going away for a week. And then he said, oh, okay, that means Fluff and Mummy will be happy. How nice. I said, well, we get along fine without you, dear. Hi, Kim. Honey, that's not even half. I just saw one that had a bit of wear. Most of this is wearable. I have 2 probably 50-gallon bins of beads. Beads that need put back onto silk or put back onto chain. Whatever. I try to use whatever they were on originally. Or, the rolled gold links. That's not even the newest pieces of glass that I had. Yeah, I haven't sold glass or any amount of glass for a long time. I've not gatekeeping, just sort of hoarding. I can have, you all know, I can have any jewelry I want. I could have any stone I want, any metal I want. I love glass. The French manicure? Oh, honey, I go get them done. I've tried it. I've tried it with and I've owned salons. So you would think that I could do it on myself. I can do and I work with both hands, but I can do my left hand better than I do my right. Those, some of the stickers are supposed to be good, but I think you're supposed to wipe your nail off with alcohol before you put them on. Oh, how do I string glass? Oh, okay. Well, I brought out one of my tools, which, this is called a beadsmith. This is the easiest way. Once I'm able to teach you how to put these together, once we can sit down and have a class, it's probably going to take a couple hours to actually show you how to put a whole necklace together. But this just acts as a holder. That keeps the silk steady and you're able to loop around it and pull the knot. This little tool goes up against the bead and then the silk goes over it. I'll show you once we can do that. It's just a matter of time, me having time to do it. Between me having to go. The other day, I was at an auction, and I had 2 devices in my lap, 2 phones. So I was at an auction, and then I was doing 2 auctions online. I thought, do I have a problem? Yeah, they're called a beadsmith. Yes, you have to have all the right tools. I can do it freehand without the tool, but it's not as uniform. I'm sure I could find one in here that I've done and without that beadsmith, and it wasn't it wasn't as perfect as you can do it with it. No, I used the Beadsmith on that. These are quartz. But that one has 7 threads. There are 7 silk cords in it because they're so heavy. Now, normally when I do them, you can use just one heavy gauge. No, I didn't do this one. I haven't been able to bead in forever. I was supposed to take the day, I think Thursday, and get all of my beading stuff out and redo I have some crystal necklaces. Oh, I know what it was. I could not find the amber. And then today, when I was going through the bead drawer, the glass drawer, I found the amber. So that just tells me that I am not organized. Well, right now I'm going to blame not being in my office, but I've been disorganized for a while. Yeah, the cherry Baltic amber. I have that. And that strand that I ordered to make it longer. Hi, Chrissy G. Here they are. So even though these are darker, they're going to go at the back of the necklace anyway. And maybe I could use them, some of the spacer beads in between. So there'll be more continuity. This is modern Baltic. And these are antique cherry Baltic. Yeah, I wanted to pull these out when we did the crystal, when we did the Bakelite, because when, ads will say cherry amber Bakelite. 9 times out of 10, Baltic cherry amber is very rare. It's crystal. Colleen, I wish maybe I was going to say maybe we should do like a live together. It's always nice to see more than one person's technique. I'm actually thinking about doing a segment where you'll send in, the viewers will send in videos. Like Lizzie sent me, she was on Bond Street in London. She also sent me that piece about royalty and design. Ooh, I hear a kitty outside. That was awful. There was a cat fight. I'm sure better than I can do it. And I'm sure that they have more time than I do. Did you hear it? That was 2 kitties. I hope it's not our little, well, the little cat that came with the house. Panda, my little black and white cat. Yes, she came with the house. We bought the house and there was a kitty here. And we found out what happened. He was pretty loud. She can hold her own though. There's a young male cat in our neighborhood, and she beats the living crap out of him. But when we bought the house, it came with a cat. So she gets the same food that Fluff gets, and she gets fed twice a day. And she's about as round as she is high. This was definitely a cat fight. Now, the funny thing is, Panda won't let another cat come into our yard. But when Fluff goes outside, she just like stands back and like, okay, this is her house. I tell you all, if you call me the queen, no, she's the queen. Old Fluff Nuggets is the queen. We're 25 minutes in, and we've seen a lot of glass, but we've actually talked about nothing. It's beautiful, Sharon, and I hope I have a minute to put it together this week. It's too short as is, and it's on some kind of stretchy cord. It's only on a cord to keep the beads in place. Yeah, Panda knows. She does. She definitely does. And then I bought this strand of Baltic. It's almost a darker cherry. Like I said, I'll probably put some beads in between and then make it longer. It'll be pretty stunning when it's finished, though. Just give me an hour. That's all I need. So, where do we start? I think what I need to tell you first, like if Deb was here, she would tell you, she was like, why does this ad say Venetian, Czech, like they throw all of these names at you. She said, well, which is it? And I forget what the piece was, but I was like, well, that's Czech. Why? And she said, well, why would they put... I said, because they don't know. I don't think it's anybody trying to scam anyone. It's just ignorance. They don't know. And unless you see what you're talking about, and unless someone tells you what it is, then you wouldn't know either, right? So we'll start with some Venetian. We're actually going to start with the oldest ones. Now, it all depends on who taught you, where you learned your information from. I've picked mine up over the years. Yeah, when they put I love when they put the question mark. It just like seals the deal. I just say to myself, you just have no idea, and that's why you put the question mark. So, like, I don't think they're trying to rip anybody off. I think, honestly, they just don't know. Okay, the oldest of... Now, some people would say, oh, that's Venetian. And somebody else would say, well, that's not Venetian, that's Murano. Now, here's the difference, kids. Venetian glass and Murano glass are one and the same. If you've been to Italy, then you know that Murano is an island just off of Venice. So it's just an area. It's like saying London for England. Italian glass is Italian glass. A lot of it is made in Murano. Murano glass is made in Murano. Now, why do I say these are the oldest? Because of the shape. The round ones, the barrel ones, you just did not see them. Here, these are wedding cake. So you didn't see these round ones. You wouldn't see the big... Oh, I got a spider in this, but it's a fake spider. You wouldn't see the large ovoid shapes. These wouldn't have been around until the 1920s. Now, they're made with marine. And the marine, I mean, this type are made with marine. Let's not get confused here. Let's not get carried away. Okay, the Venetian glass is, I'm grabbing another one. Let me grab some more wedding cake. Where the heck are some wedding cake? There's a pile of it here. Here's more wedding cake. These shapes would not have been made until at least the 1920s. Because they used copper rod. And the copper rod to form the glass on. So that's why they're, conical shape. Because they were formed on copper rod. Now, once they were able to use stainless steel rod, that's when they could start making different shapes. And the ones that you see today, the like funky ones, like flowers, and those are molds. They're mass produced. Each and every one of these were handmade. That's what makes them, more, not only because they're older, because they were handmade. Now, I've heard people say, well, when it has the white inside of them, that means that they're Chinese. Hi, Ellie. No, when it has the white in them, it means that it was formed on a copper rod and they dissolved it in nitric acid to dissolve the copper rod. They would... Well, happy early Halloween. The white powder that is in the oldest beads is because they had to dissolve the copper rod under the bead. Of course, they couldn't do it with copper rod today because it would be too expensive. Copper is ridiculously expensive. So even though these were strung on rolled gold, probably Edwardian or Art Deco, these are still beads from the 1800s. They're stunning. They really, really are pretty. I love the bright red. There's something a little gypsy about them. I don't know, but they're just beautiful. Of course, I like wedding cake full stop. The cake's not bad either. Honey, the reason they're called wedding cake is because it looks like icing. And the texture is molten glass that's applied to it. So that is hot glass that is applied to a bead. So it's not really, when you say textured, I'm going to start taking them off of pieces I described them. Let me back up there. When you say textured, I think of something like this that has, but this is applied glass. This is a type of harlequin bead. Did I pull out Czech harlequin beads? Oh God, I've got everything else in the free world in here. Yeah, I thought I'd do a little bit of sort. I did a little bit of pre-sorting because, trust me, they were more tangled than what they are here. That red wedding cake is so pretty. These are Art Deco. And you can see as time went on, they didn't get as carried away, should I say, with the design. The designs quite often were a bit more simple. Now, these are deco beads, and I even have the earrings to go with them. Do you mean one continuous wire, honey, or these type? I wish that they still made rolled gold links. I think they're just brass now and, gold tone. This old antique gold is like 5 to 12%. Some of them can be up to 12% gold. I have a really bad problem with a lot of like gold tone, silver tone jewelry, especially if it has nickel at all. Yeah, these are, gosh, now, trying to think what the name of them is. Where are my crafty people at? This is a negligee, so it's probably late Edwardian, early Art Deco on foil glass. Now, the Czech and the Italian made foil glass. And like one easy way to spot the difference in them, the Italian will not always, but if you're lucky, it'll have lava. I cannot wear nickel at all. And copper, if there's copper in jewelry, and I love copper jewelry from the 1950s, love it. I've tried everything to coat it. If I wear it, I turn green. I give Gomorrah a run for her money. And not just where the jewelry is, it'll like spread. If I wear a copper ring, it will literally spread up my finger. And I can't get it anywhere near my ears either. Lily, those bars are just a matter of the right tools. There you go. I knew when Colleen was talking about beading. Boy, Colleen, too bad you don't live close and you work. Now, these, I just showed you Italian foil. These are Czech foil. And I know because they have the fire beads, the fire polish beads in between them. Now, something else I want to tell you about beads. Especially, I didn't bring any trade beads out, which, guys, everything is in bins. But trade beads are barrel shaped. They're barrel shaped like this. But yet they look like the Millefori. Now, trade beads, people say, oh, well, some trade beads were made in Italy. Some trade beads were made by the Czechs. Some trade beads were made by the Germans. The reason that the Czechs get credit for it more than anywhere else is because Italy, Germany, they would send their beads to Czechoslovakia to be fire finished and polished. The Czechs had what they call the golden glove. They were the most proficient glass finishers. So they finished crystal, they finished glass. They were just the most skilled craftsmen. And that's why a lot of the glass you'll see on the table is Czech. I love Italian glass. I love French glass, but I am far more partial to Czechoslovakian glass. And if you've been with me for a long time, you know I'm most partial to Niger glass, with Max and Norbert Niger. They were brothers from around 1905 till 1938, thereabouts. They lived in Czechoslovakia, and they were prolific glassmakers. Lots of people copied them. So you have to be careful that you don't, buy a copy in place of a Niger. Their findings, none of them say Niger. If you get something that says Niger, it's a fake. The Czech heyday, honestly, honey, they were prolific glassmakers from... Now, I'm going to say this. Glass has been made since, I think it's the 2nd century. And like Millefori, the first people to make Millefori were the Egyptians. But then the Romans adopted and learned their ways, and that's how it traveled to Italy. But the Czech heyday, the glass, 1800s up until 1820s or so, is when like uranium glass, who was actually a German that invented uranium glass, but the Czechs put it into place. The Czech made the uranium glass. Up until the Second World War. And that's when many of the artisans were Jewish. So they were exterminated. So not only was it a loss of life, it was a loss of all of these beautiful things. Hi, Sylvia. Said I'd talk about sapphirite glass. I have my ring on, and I brought some pieces out to talk about. And we'll get to that, but it's sapphirite glass, and, well, sapphirite glass is Czech. Sapphire glass were the German glassmakers trying to duplicate it. And that was mid-century, post-World War II, most notably in the 50s and the 60s. I'll pull some of that out. But we're going to go through some of this glass, and I'll tell you what it is. And where it's from. So, my hopes are that if I show you, if you see this glass and it says Czech, Venetian, Murano, you don't need to ask. If I teach you, then you'll know. Now, something like this, when you see a color and a clear, I have the bead, sweetheart. I just need the time to put it together. I have loose quartz beads that I bought just for bracelets. Because I wore it myself when, my worst of my menopause, before they put me on HRT, the hormone replacement therapy. I wore a quartz bracelet, and I actually gave it to Deanna because she was suffering so badly. Oh, Kim, we'll get to the Niger, and I'll show you loads of pieces, beaded pieces and pieces on silk. They're, very distinguishing characteristics that you'll be able to It'll help you spot it. Handling it is really what you need to do. Honey, if you can find one, if you're miserable, and you see, it does help. If you're miserable, please look even on eBay or Etsy. I mean, I'll make you a really pretty one, but if you just need it to help you with like hot flashes, or when it's really hot, just get a rock quartz. Make sure it's rock quartz, not just crystal, because crystal won't keep you cooler. I tagged you because I want everyone to see your content as well, because not every person knows everything. Your content is very thorough. And that's Hannah, Florida Montagna. And she loves glass as well. And she's another wonderful channel to watch for explanations. I think I cover some different things to what she covers. And it clearly, there's a lot to go through. And this is only two of the drawers. That's the scary part. So back to the cased glass. This is a true cased glass, color and clear. And actually it's crystal, because this one is French. One of the telltale, it's a very different barrel clasp than, well, that one's antique, 1930s actually. How can I show you a different barrel clasp? How the French clasp, and there's another French necklace right there. Heck, let me find the barrel. Well, this one, even this one. The French barrels are they're very distinguishable, and it'll usually say made in France on one end or the other. Now, let me see if this, I know this, does this Rousselet go over the, no, here. Here's a Rousselet. This is a French glass designer as well. Now, this piece is not a Rousselet, but both of them are uranium glass. Or shall we say UV glass, because not everything that glows is uranium. I suspect it's cadmium in these, because it's pink, but it's more of a corally pink. This is a 1930s piece. This is a 1930s piece as well. Oh, how to date them. Okay, anything that, no, there's another conflicting piece of advice. They said the barrel clasp was invented in the 30s. It actually wasn't. It was actually invented in the late 20s. It was more widely used by the 1930s. It's like saying roll clasp on a brooch. As soon as someone sees that like roll duckbill, they're like, oh, well, that's more modern. No, it's not. They've been using it since the 20s. If you've got a roll, I mean, if you've got the roll and the lock, the duckbill on a pin, on a brooch, when you have the clasp that rolls over, they've been using that since the 1920s. Now, until the 1930s, they didn't use the ones that would lock. So the pins would come over and stick you. Sapphire beads, No, I have... I'll show you what I brought out. I wish I did. Now, I've had dragon's breath beads. She's in the chat, the lady that has them. So these are the pieces that I just keep at my desk, because I don't ever wear them. Now, this piece is from the 1950s. This is a sapphire. One big clue are the aurora borealis. Hi, Cache. I don't think Deb's here. I haven't been really watching chat really diligently because I'm, I get in the zone and I'm just talking away. Now, these are Edwardian. My ring is also Edwardian. No, honey, and I will tell you why there wasn't a lot made. And I was hoping that Voice would come in because she showed me her sapphire ring. And she asked me, is this a sapphire ring? And I said, yes, it is. Why don't you think that it is? And she said, oh, it looks like pinky brown. Well, right here, pinky brown. The pinky brown with the blue. Now, the way that this jewelry was made and why it's so expensive, why it's so sought after, it wasn't made for a very long time. It was only made for less than 20 years. And the reason they quit making it, I love this set. But, I mean, how dressed up do you have to be to wear this? I just don't think my pajamas, I could throw it on with my pajamas. Why not? It'll make me feel special, right? Molten gold was poured into sapphire glass, not sapphire the gem. So you would have, that's a well, no, these aren't Niger beads. These are Jakob Bengal. You would have a sapphire glass and molten gold was poured into it, and that's what made sapphire jewelry. It's a diachroic glass, and it wasn't, a salt or anything. It was molten gold. Because you're talking about glass and you're putting gold in glass. It just, unfortunately, it did not get the following, and many of the pieces this isn't sterling. This ring is Czech. It's not sterling. It is brass and it is silver plated. Most of, and you saw the necklace and the brooch, most of sapphires, true sapphires, if they're in a precious metal, it's because they've been reset. To see them, like those earrings, to see them in their original form is to see them in base metal. Look at the back of that earring. This was like expensive costume, is what it was. When you see like dragon's breath or I had a ring here last week, the opalite glass. When you see those set into precious metals, you can almost guarantee that it's been reset. Now, saying that, that opalite ring that I had last week was not. That was original, but it is sterling and gilt. And it also had beautiful natural seed pearls around it, too. I don't even know where that thing is. Where's that ring gone to? It's probably in, I'm sure it's in my ring case. But these pieces are French. Let's see, what else can we pull out that's French? Because I'm trying to clear it as we talk about it. We'll just go through every piece quickly and I'll tell you what they are and when they're from. Some of my most favorite glass. The Czech Star Sapphire. Some of my favorite glass are when they copied or tried to copy stone. So you couldn't afford a stone, so they would make glass. You know, this is on rolled gold, and it's meant to look like star sapphires. This was, expensive costume jewelry. And some of it was inexpensive. It's expensive now because nobody makes it. It died with the artisans. I just looked down. Hi, Lisa. I get in the zone, guys. This isn't carnelian. It's glass. Does this one have a little... Yes. It looks so much like carnelian. And if you don't know that you're not looking at stone, you would think that it was. But it's glass. Speaking of which, this is carnelian. And there are the harlequin beads that I was looking for. I know that this stuff is here, guys. I know what I have. These are Czech harlequin. These are Venetian harlequin. Yeah, these are carnelian. These are actual carnelian, and these, it should be in that drawer. And these are the glass carnelian. Pools of light, which unless you're new to the channel, you've seen plenty of pools of light on my channel. Here's a pair. Oh, these I polished up. They look absolutely gorgeous now. Those Art Nouveau pools of light earrings. The silver had just gone really dull. And I'm like, well, I don't think I'd wear them either. So I polished the high points on them. I think they're much prettier now. I mean, you are talking, Art Nouveau, late 1800s, early 1900s. Silver just needed a bit of a polish. But the Czech saw, all of these Chinese pieces of rock crystal quartz, and they said, well, if you can't afford that, then you can do glass. These are blue pools of light. They're Czechoslovakian. They're glass. These are rock crystal quartz. These are crystal pools of light, but they're drilled. Uh-oh, that's all the uranium territory back there. Czech were so good at not only copying, but modifying. Taking things like, have you ever seen a porcelain-covered button? I'm sure you have. This jewelry was meant to look like jade, like modeled jade. What it is, there was a man during the 1800s, his name was Thomas Prosser, and Thomas Prosser made buttons. Porcelain-covered buttons. So what did the clever little Czech artisans do? They figured out how he made them. And this is porcelain-covered glass. So they're called Prosser beads. Or faux jade. Here it is in green. This is meant to look, of course, like coral. But what it is porcelain-covered glass. Prosser beads. Now, I had some blue. Now, these are early. Now, when these were made during the 1950s, they called it Hubble glass. Later examples of it, but it's oftentimes more gray. It's meant to look like turquoise. Hi, Barbara. I just looked down, honey. The yellow, that bright canary yellow, is uranium. Oh, here we go with the tangles. This is why it's dangerous to have chain in with your silk necklaces. Never the two shall meet on my neck because they will tangle instantly. Look at that. Oh, that's in there. So I'm going to have to take time to take it apart. So during the 1950s, when it got more gray and more black and more blue, it was meant to look like turquoise, and it was called Hubble glass. Now, this is from the 1920s. It's meant to look like turquoise. They couldn't afford the stone. People, working people that would buy this glass jewelry could not afford to buy, a big turquoise necklace. And turquoise was very popular at the time as well. Or a big coral necklace, or a big jade necklace. So the clever Czech artisans came up, took Thomas Prosser's idea with that porcelain, and covered glass beads. And you saw the cornelian. Their glass is so convincing. I'm just going to put that over to the side and I'll play with it later. I'll untangle it later. Now, this really shouldn't have been in there because it's only part of a necklace. But I do have another example of it. I love these. I know it looks summery. I know it looks springy. But it also looks happy. It's uranium. They're little uranium flowers. And then all the little crystal beads in between. And these are crystal. Identifying crystal and glass. That's another thing we need to do, right? Crystal. Lisa, did I not send your invoice, honey? I'll watch chat back because I know I'm missing loads while I'm just blathering on. I will check to make sure that I did send it to you. Like, not this time, but the last couple times, for some reason, PayPal, I know I sent an invoice, but it probably didn't go to you. It went to another Lisa Crandall. And when your package is ready to ship, when I went to ship it, I'd go back and check it and see that it wasn't paid, and I'd think, what's going on? No, thank you, honey. Thank you for telling me. Because then I'd have to message you. I will check. Okay, back where we were at. Glass and crystal. How to tell the difference between glass and crystal. If glass is cut right, on the rarest of occasions, you will be able to see a rainbow through it. Now, if lead crystal is cut right, I'll guarantee you can see rainbows through this now. The lead is what makes it heavier. The lead is, the cutting also helps as well for as it to be refractive. But having the lead acts as a prism. And what it's doing is capturing the light and spilling it back out. Poor Ellen has COVID. Poor Ellen, poor Jeanette. Who else has COVID now? Didn't somebody else? Isn't it gorgeous? That is a gorgeous necklace. Yeah, it's lead crystal. This isn't rock crystal quartz. It's just lead. But I think this one is Czech and signed. Unfortunately, I do have some mid-century on here. Now, let's see. This piece, I think, is German. Is it German or Japanese? Unsigned. If I had to guess, because they're trying to mimic Murano glass, I would say it's probably German. One way to tell more modern glass from antique glass, the colors are brighter. More vivid. This is an antique blue and an antique, well, the green is actually uranium. This is an actually pretty stunning necklace. But I'm sure you can see the difference in the color, the difference in the blue. I just looked down and saw Lori. Hi, Lori. What's wrong with Lori? Now you're going to make me roll back. Lori, hi, Adrian. Lori, oh my gosh. What is going on? When we were talking about the Murano, how to age and identify it, the more modern, the brighter. The colors are still bright, they're still intense, but you can see the difference in this and this. Even if I show you an antique red piece, it's just different. They're brighter. And probably since the 1960s, they've used clay. It's not even glass. and it's mass produced. So that's why you want to get your hands, if you're going for Millefori, get your hands on an older piece because it will be glass. Isn't it awful? My gosh, I've got so many of you, but I'm glad you're home and hopefully you're warm and dry and comfortable. Well, as comfortable as you can be, being miserable. That being said, these are another Italian foil with the lava. No, newer. Hi, Jamie. Newer glass is brighter, honey. And not only brighter, just more vivid. You know, like out there colors. Listen, that being said, I love turquoise. So that's why I bought this necklace. I bought this necklace for myself, actually. I absolutely love turquoise. I didn't care if it was 1950s. I think it's beautiful. I'm not trying to tell you, oh, don't buy 1950s glass, because there's a lot of beautiful glass from the 50s and 60s and 70s. But hi Jane, glass fell off in the 1950s to plastic. Now, I mean, they could say early Bakelite, which, unless you're new to the channel, you've seen, early Bakelite. Early Bakelite was heavy. Very, very heavy. But they were able to make it lighter in the 1950s, late in the 1950s, and that's when plastic jewelry went crazy. Late 50s, early 1960s. Then you have phenomenal designers. This is Miriam Haskell. Yes. Yeah. In 40s, Ellen Lucite really took off. Yeah, this is Miriam Haskell. It is plastic and a blue and white like Delft or Chinese porcelain. But it's like that cuboid. That's Haskell. This one's plastic. This gorgeous piece is Vendome. Aurora Borealis. Look at and this is from the 1960s. Oh, that's upside down. Sorry about that. Yes, but sadly, it kind of saw the end of glass. Christina, I can bring it if you want me to bring it, honey. I'm thinking about before Christmas doing like an upscale vintage and antique costume, because I have a ton of upscale costume. Just don't have a ton of buyers who really go for it. Costume to many of you is if you buy a Czech necklace that is brass and gilt. And I sell more sterling and gold, and I do. And it's not, I love costume jewelry, and especially well, I do sell a lot of Victorian costume and Art Deco costume, but I mean, I have tons of costume from like the 50s, 60s, and 70s that were like my personal pieces, to be quite honest with you. But I don't collect it as much heavily as I did at one time. This is a beautiful Czech necklace, but it's also wrapped up in a piece of glass. Yes, Trifari, I like Trifari. I love Crown Trifari. And I have quite a bit of Crown Trifari. I also have quite a bit of pre-World War II and post-World War II Monet. And, there are a lot of people on YouTube selling vintage costume as well. I do well enough with antiques. Yes, the Alfred Philippe, and I do have a few Alfred Philippe actually. I don't know if they'd go here on the channel. So we'll get it untangled. And what I'm doing is putting the metal pieces, the wired pieces, separately. And it's sort of my favorite too. Even though my tastes are very eclectic, I collect. I think you can see. I collect across the board. No, I thought I had two of these. This is a 1950s example of it. It's meant to look like tortoiseshell. They're glass. I love them. Absolutely love them. Yeah, I'm the same, Pam. I like it all. Terrible. But I don't bring, much of the vintage and much of the vintage costume, like my designer stuff. Because, like, there are enough people selling it. I don't think that stops people from, I was the first person to sell nothing but antiques, and pretty much I think I'm still the only person who sells, basically antiques. That doesn't stop other people from, seeing my success with that, and hey, if you want to try, go ahead. I'm all for it. More wedding cake. It's, you know what I mean? I'm not like, I didn't invent this stuff. More pools of light. Love these ones. They're just a pale blue, almost like ogeneal. Almost like water in your hand. These are so pretty. I think they're just as pretty as like the quartz pools. I love the intense color ones, and I sell quite a bit of them, but I love the pastel ones as well. Yay! Wasn't weird. She just had a very, very eclectic lot. It was a good deal. I'm not surprised that it sold. Uh, this one doesn't make sense at all. Here's the funny bit about this necklace. First of all, this necklace is Victorian with that barrel clasp. And I think it's definitely been restrung because it's on one of those like stretchy nylon ones. It is such a mix. It's got antique beads, then someone took vintage beads, and it's glass that's meant to look like coral, right? Or not coral, amber. And then it's got some amber beads right here at the clasp. There's amber right there. That's actual amber. So you can you see the different colors? That yellowy, and then it goes down into the golden. I'm wondering, because this is cadmium glass, is some of this cadmium glass as well? Hey, Felicia, how are you, honey? Well, you know what's glowing? The amber is glowing. Here. Let's cut some of the light, shall we? Where are my big lights at? The music went and I don't really care. Because like I said, I have to talk over it anyway. It's not very ASMR when you've got to like talk over top of things. Where in the heck is that other light at? Oh, no. Did I cut it all? There we go. Now it's a little bit darker. Now you can see. It's amber glass. Now that's amber on the end. That's Baltic amber on the end. Now, this piece is cadmium. I love this deco necklace. And then, of course, when I run it over the pile here, then you can see all of the uranium. Yeah, that's why it's all in a pile, actually. It's just a little bit more pronounced once it gets into a pile. Although I love this necklace, this big chonker. Look at that. Oh, those will blow your mind, that green. I know, I know. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, I was curious because I think that's a newer piece. Like I hadn't really done much with it but clean it. Because I said I've been hoarding. Deb's like, I think you're gatekeeping the glass. I'm not gatekeeping it. Just haven't sold it, that's all. Just haven't had time to present it. There's been so much more. This is not my private collection, believe it or not. Nope. No, that's a little bit more scary. My private collection is a little bit scary. All of these pieces are available for sale. Yeah, my private collections, I think if I said it's out of hand, you'd believe me, since these are the pieces that are for sale. So if I told you that my private collection is out of hand, then you would definitely believe me. Matte black glass. I don't know that I even have any matte black glass. You sure it's glass? You sure it's not jet? Did you test it? Because someone's got this weird idea that you could harvest uranium from it. That's why they would ban the sale of uranium glass. There's not enough in here. You could take all of this that's here. My husband works in nuclear power. There's not enough here to do anything. And I have literal, well, this is just the stuff for sale. I have a drawer that's my uranium glass is probably I probably have more uranium glasses on here than is on here right now. Personally. It's silly. I mean, what are you going to do? Collect, 500 pounds of uranium glass? Because, you want it for nefarious purposes? That's just insanity. And I wonder, Trish, is it in California? Because California is like, they're sticklers. That was a brooch caught up in there. I'm telling you, the glass drawers are a catch-all. Yeah, some of my favorite is this glass, though. The blue with the green. I've got tons of it, though. So, no, all of these will be available. Well, I mean, all of this glass. So, when Deb said, when I was threatened to bring glass out during a sale, and Deb says, no, you can't just bring out some glass. Yeah, it's uranium, Hannah. Hi, JY. And anybody I missed, I'm so sorry. I'm like, when I'm talking, I'm not even paying attention to chat unless I look down and catch you. Please don't think I'm ignoring you. I'm just not looking at chat. Yeah, the jadeite glass. I have true jadeite glass. I can't tell. Nope, that's uranium too. I'm sure I have true jadeite glass on here that's not uranium. Nope, that's uranium too. Somewhere in this pile is jadeite glass that is not uranium. Yeah, I love green. I love the color green. So, yeah, definitely it's here somewhere, or it could still be in the drawer. To be quite honest with you. These strands are called Tutti Frutti, but this is early. That's Czech. This one has cadmium and uranium and manganese. two different colors of uranium. Oh, this is a really, that might not be for sale. Uh-oh, there I go hoarding. And I'm supposed to be clearing this stuff off, and I'm not doing it. Especially sorting out the stuff that is on wire or on rolled gold, because listen, when those two get in the drawer, hi RJ, when those two get in the drawer, it is like, yeah, see, none of this doesn't need to be together. I love these fancy shapes. And surprisingly enough, they're not uncomfortable to wear. They look kind of brutalist, to be honest with you. I think some of these are uranium. I've got to like pull it under my desk where it's darker to check. No, they're just green. Not everything that is green is uranium. Hey, boys. Hey, girl. I showed the sapphire, but I showed that I have jewelry that is the color of your ring. Oh, wait a second. Let me pull it out and show you. She was like, oh, I don't think it's sapphire because it looks pinkish. It's not a brownie brown. It's a pinky brown. It comes in varying hues. It's not all brown. It's not all... all of it will have blue. Now, there is, and I have it put away because I have to refoil them. I do have a type of glass that is like sapphire, but it's pink. It's pink, and they foiled it with like red foil. I love anything diachroic. I like anything that has, like moonstones and opals, and when there's movement in the stone, I'm like a crow. I get excited to see it. This is the only example I've ever seen of, personally seen, uranium pools of light. They just look like the palest of, oh, dragon's breath. Don't start me, Ellen. Yeah, I have a problem with dragon's breath. The problem is I probably have too much of it. No, can you have too much of something? Yeah, actually you can have too much of something. Don't ask my husband that, because he'll tell you. When I pulled this glass out tonight, he said, you're going to sell all that, right? I said, oh, wait, what do you mean? And he said, because that's not yours. That's what you bought to sell. I said, yeah. Yeah, oh, here's another rare. Wasn't all about the Czech. Italians made uranium as well. That is stunning. This is a necklace, but it's meant to have chain attached to it. I know it's in there because I was supposed to reattach one of these crystals and attach a chain. It's uranium as well. That's Rosalind. It's pink. Oh, yeah. My husband says especially every time I get a glass lot in, because I mean, this is things that I had. And then the stuff that you saw in the Jewel School promo. Now look at these. How stunning is this? And then I have never seen I've seen a ton of antique or modern glass bracelets, but not an antique wedding cake. I mean, if you appreciate foil glass, look at this. These are all Art Deco. And he said, oh, here's more wedding cake. Look at these gorgeous little wedding cake. Looks like little, almost like Christmas sweets. Red and green on blue. I love when because you can use less beads, and that's what they did, especially when you'd have like a foil bead. These have always been expensive because they're all handmade and they're hard to make. Now that's meant to look like an opal, of course. They would put them on the rolled gold so you wouldn't have to use as many beads. That's why they did it. It wasn't just because they didn't want to string it on silk. The more expensive beads would go onto the rolled gold wire. So I bought this big lot of glass, and he's like, "You bought more glass." Oh, I was like, "What? Huh? What are you talking about?" He said, "That's more glass. You haven't sold." He said, "When's the last time you sold glass?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know. I'm going to have a big sale." So, yeah, soon we'll have a big glass sale. Yeah, I said these are Bengal. They're not. They're Niger. The melons. Most of them are. Let me get the UV light. I'll bet these are uranium. Yep. Yeah, most of them are green. These are the first strand that I saw in like carnelian. I don't have a problem. Shh. It's only a problem if you admit it. No, I'm not there yet. So yeah, we will. Here we go. Here we have red, white, and blue. We can be patriotic. They're called pumpkin or gourd beads. That's exactly right. But most of them are in green. You generally find them in green. I love the Murano glass that actually looks like Murano glass. This is crystal and Murano. I think this is stunning. Yeah, just a little bit. I am a little bit powerless. Just a tiny bit. I mean, some things like Niger, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm going to always collect it. Always. And this will tell you, this isn't even all of the Niger that I have for sale. I only sell Niger when I have, this is going to sound like really obsessive, but when I have at least 2 of them. If I have 2 or more, then I'll sell. But if I only have 1, you won't see it. I love these as well. The ones scattered along rolled gold chain, love them. Absolutely, Felicia. Those are the ones that those you'll find like the most expensive, most desired beads a lot of times on the rolled gold. When I have them and they're on silk and it's like a continuous strand, they're 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 crazy. They're crazy money. It is a really good way if you're going to get into glass to do it. You can buy a little bit at a time. It's not really expensive. It's not cheap, but it's not like having a whole strand of it as well. It's a smart way if you're going to collect glass. So if someone, like we were talking about the Millefori, if someone shows you a big, a big chonkum bead like this, and they try to tell you it's from the 1800s, just look at them and laugh because they didn't have the technology. They couldn't do it. This piece is Deco through and through. And here we go with the Italian beads and the Czech seed beads because they would send their glass to Czechoslovakia to be finished. And I think this is a case of these didn't make it back to Italy. Someone combined it and made this incredible flapper necklace out of it. But up into the 1920s, you were only going to see the barrel. You were only going to see these. You were never going to see anything like a fancy shape like that. And then again, up into the 1960s, you wouldn't see them in a fancy shape like a star or, you know, you've all seen modern pieces of Millefori. And the reason that they were so popular, they became popular again in the 1960s, was the hippie movement. A Million Flowers, it reminded them of nature. They were flower children. They were all. I guess I'm kind of a hippie because I'm pretty much a naturalist. To be quite honest with you, I think my mom was a bit of a hippie then anyway. So I think it just kind of rubbed off on me. 1960s. Of course, these are antique. 1920s, love this satin glass. Pressed satin glass. I have always loved that necklace. Oh, there's one of my dragon's breath. This is dragon's breath on foil. I think you remember when I got that ring. And it fits me, and I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to bring that one. Yeah, when I said things are for sale, that fell out of my Sapphire box. No, that's not for sale. But no, all the rest of it is. I've shown you Chinese pieces that are actual stone. This is a Czech copy. Glass. I have these necklaces in stone. They're Chinese and they're Edwardian. So those are those pumpkins. Niger. We're going to talk about Niger, and then I think we're going to have an old-fashioned light show. I'm going to cut all the lights and I'm going to show you the uranium. Now, 1905 to 1938, thereabouts, Max and Norbert Niger. They've been making jewelry. Max started first. I think he was an apprentice, but he started making his own jewelry when he was like 18 years old. And his jewelry was, his brother, Norbert, was actually like the business manager. He did the business side of the business. But the whole family actually worked assembling the jewelry. So to think that you might have a piece in your hands that was actually touched by, the two of them or a family member, I don't know. It's kind of special to me. Nobody else made their jewelry. They were hands-on and made their own jewelry. Even when it got huge, they didn't make all of it. They had other people, making pieces and assembling pieces, but they always had their own hands in it. To me, that's kind of special. These are the beads I need to pull out. Well, that's one of their beads. I need to pull out some more of the beaded pieces so you can see the difference. Around about 1922, there was this little discovery called Tutankhamun's tomb. And it made Egyptian jewelry go crazy. Everybody wanted to wear Egyptian jewelry. They're special pieces. They really are. And you just feel like you have a connection with these wonderful people that, lost their lives just because they had a different religion. Well, so many people lost their lives. It wasn't just Jews, it was gypsies, it were intellects, whoever, Hitler felt like exterminating. Nicola, hi, honey. Tell me you're well. We've got so many sick in chat tonight. These are all Niger bead. So, once they discovered Tutankhamun's tomb, and everybody wanted Egyptian jewelry. I love Egyptian jewelry myself. They blew up. They designed these tomb beads. And there were tons of them. You can find them in the States. There were tons of them sent to name an expensive department store. Now, when I was in Pittsburgh, it was, once upon a time, it would have been Kaufman's, so Joseph Horn. So probably May Company, Saks, like the really expensive department stores in New York picked up Niger jewelry. Picked up the line. They were the first to pick it up. Then, of course, it went to jewelry stores all over the country, or to department stores mostly. So there are a lot of Niger beads, honestly, in the States. They're not all here in Europe. So I know I had some. Here we go. We're going to talk about how you can identify that. Now, these are very desirable. They're also expensive, and all of it's an investment. Saying that, they also have beads and necklaces. Let me show you one of them. Or some of them, shall I say, so you can get an idea of what you're looking at. Now, it's the bead caps, the end caps that make them more distinguishable when it's in a necklace. That doesn't have the, the silk tied through it, and it's beaded. This is Niger. You'll find that the end caps and their bead caps they'll most always be signed Czechoslovakia, because everybody that was making jewelry at that time in that area used the same kind of findings. But things that distinguish Niger, they almost always have a hidden secret. And that secret on many of their necklaces the beads are uranium. Not all of the beads, some of the beads will be uranium. That's one of their tells. Now, not all of the tomb beads are uranium. You can see some of them glowing. But the ones that are like solid colored are not uranium. And the only way that you can do is to compare them to the uranium ones, because some of the colored ones were copied because they didn't have to have uranium in them. But you can see the uranium ones and the colored ones are identical. No, it's never ever, if you ever get a piece that says Niger on it, it's a fake. 110%, honey, it's a fake. They'll just say Czechoslovakia. None of their jewelry was branded. Funny how like some of the really prolific jewelry makers didn't have a tag. Juliana, paper tag. A lot of Whiting and Davis, paper tag. And the reason they have paper tags is the same reason that people say unsigned beauty, and I tell you there is no such thing. There are manufacturers who made it for other companies. Dior didn't make their own jewelry. Chanel doesn't make their own jewelry. Absolutely. And Rousselet. They don't make their own jewelry. Someone else makes their jewelry for them. So there's no such thing as an unsigned beauty. It is the company that made it for the company that tagged it. That's all there is to it. When you look at a piece that's not signed and you go, that looks identical to, or it looks almost identical, but I can't find it attached to them. They'll change it just one little bit so they could get away with it. That would be the manufacturer, the actual manufacturer. Like Gross or Grosse, Grosse, is a German costume jewelry maker. They make all the Dior. Or at least they made all the Dior. Their jewelry is seen as just as prolific as the Dior because they're the ones who made it in the first place. It's a heck of a lot cheaper too. I know I have loads of their pieces. And it's some of the most well-made costume jewelry I've ever had. So yeah, there are a lot of misnomers. And again, it's not because I think there's anyone trying to be malicious or, doing on with some malintention. It's just because they don't know. But I've been in this a long time. Especially, once upon a time, all I sold was vintage. But the funny thing is, the vintage that I sold 30 years ago is now antique. So when I started, Art Deco was just vintage. Now it's a proper antique. Back then, I had to sell, post 100 or pre 100 years when I sold it as antique. So things that I sell now as antique were vintage. So if it looks like or it sounds like I'm really familiar with these pieces, it's because I am really familiar with these pieces. I've seen them for a long time and I still love them. They're classics. They look good today. They'll look good 100 years from now. Things that are a classic and beautiful are never, beauty doesn't go out of style. It's the funky stuff that, comes in and out. But even that'll come around. So I think I've rambled on enough. I'm going to give you a few moments, ask me any questions you have. Because like I said, I've just been running my mouth. And then I'm going to cut all the lights and give you a light show. So you can see what these uranium pieces look like in the dark. Oh, and I'm going to pull the uranium ring. Because I didn't pull that. I've sold a lot of uranium rings, but never one this big. I haven't sold it. I do have a blue one that's actually larger. So, any questions? No? I know I'm going to have to go back because I didn't look at chat while you were all talking away. I'll have to watch back. And I'll email you. I don't know. I always feel like I've left something out. Because there's so much. There's only so much you can put into time. It does, Jane, but your ring is from the 50s and that one is from the 30s. You bought a Venetian glass necklace. Is it Murano? I'd have to see it, honestly. Unless you bought it from me. And then I could tell you did you buy a wedding cake from me? If you bought wedding cake from me, I mean, I'm only showing you all these pieces to help you identify when you see it out in the wild. When someone tries to sell you rock crystal quartz, if you don't have a gem tester, you feel it and it's ice cold. And it'll stay ice cold in your hand. Although I've had some of my ladies that said they were going through menopause, they could heat it up. I always run a little bit colder, so it always stays ice cold on me. Even the hottest day, quartz stays ice cold on me. But I just wanted to show you some of these. I didn't even show you these because they're in a tangle. All of the end of day. And that's how you learn as well, Jane. That's 100% is learning. You know, there are a lot of people who out there who are knowledgeable. Hannah, like, that's why I tagged her. Hannah is very knowledgeable. Matte black, if it's matte black glass, honey, and jet can be matte. I'm not saying that, you know, what you have is jet. One way to test jet is take a corner near the bead hole and use a ceramic cup, and the raw ceramic that's on the bottom of a ceramic mug, near the bead hole, you want to scratch it on the mug. If it leaves a black mark that looks sort of like a coal mark, you could have jet. That's one way to determine jet. Now, the reason that French jet, the black shiny glass, you know, this was during Victorian times. Hello, I'm trying to tell you, glass was made to replace, a lot of it was made to replace gemstones. So jet was so desired, you know, Whitby jet was so desired because of Queen Victoria. French jet, which is black glass. In some cases, it has some lead in it, black crystal. This piece is 1950s, actually, with that intense blue. Another piece of 50s glass that I adore. Absolutely gorgeous. Can you imagine having a black dress on and putting that piece on with a black dress? I had my big bust, and I was going to put it, not my big bust, you know, my jewelry bust, and I was going to put it in the back there, and we were going to, but that is, we could play with that for hours, layering and showing you different looks with this glass. Some of it is 100 years old. Some of it is older, 120, 130. Some of it is 50, 60, 70 years old. 100% of it is wearable, and all of it is beautiful. I quite often wear glass. Yeah, when I'm not wearing glass, I'm wearing pearls, because I like pearls with anything. So let's pile up. Oh, that's not uranium. Let's pile up some of the uranium, well, all of the uranium up here. And there are some really gorgeous pieces, especially these big chunky pieces. Yeah, we didn't even talk about AB glass. You know about AB glass. The Czechs actually have AB glass that is antique, but the AB glass that was invented by Swarovski in the 50s was, they were mimicking Czech glass. You know, the bubbles that I showed you, the glass bubbles that had like that aurora borealis, that's actually in the glass. It is actually iridescent glass. So Swarovski copied that and then patented, once he made it stable, he patented aurora borealis. I didn't see what HC said. Oh, your pearls. Of course. I know you love gold and yellow, and I know you love pearls, so that was a no-brainer, honey, on that one. That's when I love to get to know you all, and I'm able to pick gifts that I know you'll love. So, give me a second. We're going to turn all the lights out. We're going to hope that my floor guy comes this week, finishes my office, so I love my husband, but I say I love him, but I cannot work in the same space with him. I need my own space. I mean, quite often I'm in auctions, or I'm packing, or I'm doing something that requires focus, and he's doing his business, and it's just too much. Can't do it. All right, we're down to one. Whoa. They'll see us from space with this. Oh, here are the Niger uranium. They're wicked bright as well. So what I didn't say was they started with the Egyptian, and then they went to Chinese and Asian. So, but those pieces were more limited. They were less produced than, so if you find those are very collectible. They were less produced than the Egyptian ones. And the fewest are their like fabulous necklaces, which I pulled out that one, but no, I've got some really, really gorgeous ones. I mean, there's what the heck is this piece? Oh, okay, I know what it is. That piece is really yellow. I'll leave it on top so you can see it. But it's cadmium. There's uranium at the ends. Yellow uranium at the ends, but this piece is really yellow. And you won't know it until we turn the lights on. So, what I suggest is if you do fancy glass and you decide that you're going to maybe collect yourself some pieces and you want to go out and find it in the wild, buy yourself, I don't have it here, one of those pens that has a UV light on it that they check money with. You know, it's got the ink on one end, and then it's got a UV light on the other. So you can check a bill with it. You know, when they do it on a 20, you know, to check the die, to make sure that it's correct. They always have UV light on the end. It's probably, if I look, it's probably in my purse. I carry it with me everywhere. Not that I need, you know, but it's always fun if you're out and you see uranium, just to click your light on it and make it light up. Especially if you're in a shop and they don't know it's uranium. Yeah, you could also get them. I bought ones like this, and I don't know what I did with them. It was just a little, this is LED. Oh, so the necklace that was super orange is this one. Believe it or not. You can't really even see it unless all the lights are off. You can see that it's glowing, but when the lights are off completely, that's the bright orange one. You would never think it. Of course, that's the speckled one. You saw where they were all at. But yeah, if you have any interest in uranium glass, buy yourself a little portable flashlight, or the pens are less conspicuous. You know, if you don't want, if they don't know it's uranium, you know, you'll get it for glass. Not everyone knows what the value of glass is. Now that I've shown you all of this glass, go on Etsy, go on eBay, whatever platform, Ruby Lane, whatever platform you like to shop on, and look at how much antique glass is. Forget antique, even vintage. It's a lost art. Something I would love. I got kind of excited like in the 70s and the 80s when there were a lot of like artist studios and they were doing the diachroic glasses and the art glass. And I thought, oh, glass is going to make a comeback. But then it didn't. It kind of all looks the same. I hate to say that. Not all of it looks the same, but a lot of it looks the same. And when everybody does the same thing, it doesn't make it special. So I don't think it caught on really. So unfortunately, but fortunately, Europe is a wealth for antique glass, and it doesn't look like it's been a lot of, I hate to say it because I sold it there, but a lot of American glass, especially the antique glass, it doesn't have flea bites. It's beat. And one of the reasons is because we had revivals. We had a Victorian revival in the 1950s, and we also had a Victorian revival in the 1980s, late 80s, and the early 90s. So that glass didn't just serve the Victorians. It was brought back out again in the 50s, and then it was brought back out again in the 80s and 90s. Where a lot of European glass, you can see, it hasn't been worn since it was worn. The revivals were not as prolific here. It was kind of seen because I bought here. I bought here in the 80s and the 90s. This is where I came. So I knew when I moved here that that's the way I would go back into antique. That's why the antiques here aren't beat. They just didn't go through the revivals like we did in the 50s and the late 80s and early 90s. There was like more of a cottagecore revival here in the late 80s, early 90s. Laura Ashley, you know, the long dresses and the flowery dresses and the chintz and all that. But it really wasn't as much with the jewelry as it was in the States. So that's why a lot of the antique jewelry in the States looks very worn. Because it's seen its time period into revivals. Well, I hope that I taught you something, that I wasn't too scattered, not too tired. Because when I get tired, I'm real scattered. Well, you know, I'm scattered anyway. And I really didn't show you much of the things that I've had for a haul for the next sale. So that'll be the next time you see me. Because there's a lot. Not just the glass. There's a lot of new jewelry in. No, thank you, Christina, and thank you all for coming in and for watching this back, you know, down the road. Don't just watch. Come in and chat. You see how lovely everyone is. I say I am blessed. I have the best buyers. You are all the kindest, sweetest, most caring people. You go into other chats and sometimes you'll see fighting and bickering, and not here ever. We're all just too kind and too nice for that. I don't have any time for anyone like that anyway. They just don't get air in my room. So I will see you all maybe Wednesday with the haul. And you'll all be getting notices from me either tomorrow or Tuesday. And Lisa, I'll check PayPal. I'm sure I billed you, honey, but I'm also sure I must have billed the wrong person. Thank you all. Felicia, it was wonderful to see you. Everyone that stopped in that I haven't seen for a little while. And all of you that have COVID, please get better soon. Oh, good night, Pam. Thank you all. Yeah, I'll check, Lisa. I'm sure someone else got billed. Not you. I would have figured it out tomorrow, honey, when I went to send you out. Because I have to go back into PayPal and, you know, put tracking in. See you all very soon. Oh, thank you. Deanna, take care of yourself, honey. I hope you feel better soon. Voice, you too, honey. Yeah, I'm beat. I overdid it. It's okay. I'll take some pain medicine and go to bed. Good night, guys. Oh, thank you for coming.